Yo, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of WRLD Podcast. I'm your host, Splash, here with my co-host, Speedy.
Yeah,
All right, how you feeling today, Speed?
not sick.
Not that that's always good. Everybody be
Don't
out there
have
washing
corona.
your hands. And make sure you wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Social distancing. That's why we're recording in two separate places. So first, Speed, you got the news in
Yeah,
latest
so
sports?
two of the major running back free agent signings have been Melvin Gordon, who signed a 2-year, $16 million deal with the Broncos, and then Todd Gurley, who went to the Falcons for 1 year, $6 million. So do you
Um,
think those were good in their own interest? The players?
So it depends. Who did you say? Melvin Gordon signed how much?
16 millions for 2 years.
With the Broncos. I don't think that was. He could have gotten more. I feel.
Mm-hmm.
He is a very good running back. I would like to say one of the top. He could be one of the top 10 in the league, and he might be. So I think that he could have gotten more, and even in a better situation. Broncos are in shambles right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're
They just
they're
fired Joe Flacco. I think they don't have a quarterback at all.
they're not very good. They don't have a great quarterback situation. Their defense is pretty good, but other than that, they've just been a struggling team ever since Peyton Manning left, and I think that'll continue no matter if Melvin Gordon's there or not.
Yeah. So
Todd Gurley,
now,
on the other hand,
yeah.
I think is a good signing depending on his health.
I mean, yeah, the Falcons have a good offensive line, so he might be able to flourish in there. But if he's able to stay healthy, I still don't think the Falcons really have championship hopes.
No, I don't feel that either. I really think that they're good. They're not going to really even be too good of a playoff team. Like they might make a wild card spot, but you have to think about Tom Brady's now in Tampa Bay, and Drew Brees is still with the very good Saints. So
Yeah. So now the Eagles, their current running back situation is kind of up in the air. They obviously have Miles Sanders, who showed potential last year. He had 118 yards and averaged 4.6 yards a carry. And now that's really good in a rookie season. So they're hoping obviously to get more out of him. And then Boston Scott, who had a 3-touchdown game in the important must-win game against the Giants. But then after that, they don't really have any more depth. Nobody knows really what happened to Corey Clement after he got injured and put on IR. So do you think that the Eagles should have gone out and tried to sign either Gordon or Gurley?
I don't think they needed to. I think they need to sign someone, but I think that Gordon. Well, now knowing that Gordon didn't even cost too much money, I don't think that it was very outlandish that they could have gotten him. But I feel like they really want Miles Sanders to be their number one back going forward, and I don't think that Gordon would have allowed that. Just last year, when they had Austin Eckler and Melvin Gordon in Los Angeles, they really struggled to find who was their true number one back, and I think that would happen in Philly. I do think they need a back, someone to like more of a power back, because Boston Scott, not a big guy. Miles Sanders.
It's a shame though because they let Jordan Howard walk, and he could have been that good third down goal line power back to punch it through, but they let him walk. Obviously.
Yeah, that's really true. I like Jordan Howard in the games he played there. He played that sick game against the Bears, and that was pretty dope. But he got injured, and other than that, I don't know what's happened.
Yeah, but I like the looks of Miles Sanders. He showed a lot of potential, and obviously he sat behind Saquon Barkley. And we've seen how Saquon has been able to burst onto the scene these first couple of years. So I think he has a high ceiling and a lot of good potential.
Yeah, he does. That's true. I just think they need maybe like just someone like due to the Eagles' very bad injury-prone players, they're gonna need all the depth they can have, especially after these past two seasons. So it'll be cool to see what they do in the rest of free agency.
Yeah, because they also desperately need a wide receiver, so their first round draft pick's almost definitely going to go to that. So they would most likely have to sign somebody.
Yeah, they're not a good drafting team, but maybe they
Yeah.
can change that up this year.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see with them. It's kind of a waiting game at this point.
Hmm.
Okay. And then I wanted to talk teams on the rise. One of the big names last year who made a pretty good run and surprised some people was the Buffalo Bills. And they were led by quarterback Josh Allen, who improved a lot from the year before. And I think he threw for around 1,000 more yards. And he had a good touchdown to interception rating and a good passer rating as well. So do you think that with his growth over the next few years, they could be a championship team?
Well, before I go on, I like to consider myself a believer as a big Josh Allen fan. Uh, I think he's a really good player with a high ceiling. And with the addition on Stephon Diggs, I really think they could control the AFC East. He's explosive. And that's the deep threat that they've really needed. To kind of bail Josh Allen out a little bit from having and now I'm not going to say that Cole Beasley is a bad second option, but I would rather have John Brown as my second option and Diggs as my first than Brown as my first and Cole Beasley as my second. So I really think that they could blossom this season, but their ceiling is only as high as Josh Allen's accuracy continues to improve.
Right. I mean, last year, one of his main problems was struggling to make the correct decisions, and which resulted in turning the ball over multiple
Hmm.
times.
Yeah. Uh, that's and he doesn't know always that when he gets under pressure, he sometimes folds. He'll take untimely sacks. He doesn't know when to get rid of the ball.
Right.
You'll see it in other young quarterbacks. Sometimes Watson will do similar things, but I
Especially
really think
Carson
that the Bills.
Wentz.
What?
Especially Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz does not know when to throw the ball away.
No, he doesn't know when to get rid of the
Right.
ball.
Stuff like
Um,
that over time, when they'll
and the
learn.
good thing about guys like Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, and Carson Wentz, to a degree, is that they're pretty mobile guys, so they're able to escape a lot of the time. But if your offensive line isn't great, uh, you're not always going to be able to escape. So you just got to be smart. And I
Right.
think
So,
that
yeah,
Josh Allen will eventually be able to.
The Bills' offensive line isn't great. I mean, they were able to re-sign Quentin Spain, who was their most reliable lineman last year. But as we saw in the Texans game in the playoffs, there were free runners at Allen almost the whole game. So they need to clean up their O line.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Okay, and then another big signing was that the Titans re-signed Ryan Tannehill for 118 million for 4 years. Now, I
No,
think, yeah, I think
no,
that was way too much money for
way
a
too
guy
much money.
who he didn't do that much for them last year, and in the past he hasn't been a fantastic quarterback worth
I
that kind of money.
I like Ryan Tannehill. Like he's a cool quarterback, but like I don't. That's and I guess they signed him because he understands that he's not the focal point of that offense.
Mhm.
It's all about Derrick Henry. But I just there was probably more like they either could have paid him less or they could have paid like or they could have gotten someone else. Like I like Tannehill. He's just
I
not
think
I
he's
did
the
not
right guy, but that's just the wrong price.
yeah, it's the wrong price. And even if like he might improve. Like I think in his I want to say 5 years in Miami, something like that. He was good when he was healthy, and he wasn't always healthy, but he had a healthy season, and I think they blossomed because of that. But this is I was watching Colin Cowherd a couple months ago, and he was talking about something that I really felt about the Titans is that they're a good story, but good stories tend not to win multiple years in a row.
Hmm.
So that's that's mainly my problem with the Titans.
Right. So especially if they're putting this much money towards Ryan Tannehill, it's going to set Derrick Henry's bar much higher. and they obviously plan to franchise tag him. But now that they're spending this this large amount of money on only 2 guys, it's not going to leave much room for improvement in other areas.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I really think that their wide receiver core is decent, but not great. And if Derrick Henry gets hurt, they're 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 just going to be a subpar team. It'll be a 6-10, 7-9 team.
Right.
So I really just I think this team has a ceiling, and last year
Yeah.
was pretty close to that ceiling.
Right. So their playoff run to the AFC Championship last year, do you think that was a lucky one-time thing, or are they going to be able to replicate that in coming years?
I don't think it was lucky. I don't think they're gonna be able to do it again. Like, I can't see Baltimore getting another exit as embarrassing as these past 2 years again. And I think Buffalo's gotten better, and I think that that well, the Texans I wouldn't say have gotten better, but they've actually kind of gotten worse in my opinion. But I still think they'll be fine, especially if they make any deals or anything like that. And the Chiefs obviously are very, very good. So I think I can see the Titans winning. I can even see the Titans winning their division. I just don't see them making it out of the second round
Mm-hmm.
plausibly.
Right. So this free agency, they've only re-signed players, and they've only made one new addition in defensive end Vic Beasley, and they've lost only a few minor players. So virtually, it's the same team that went to the AFC Championship last year. So do you think that teams are going to be able to stop them now that they know how to?
Stop. I don't think stop, but slow down if they plan. Like, I feel like if the Texans were smart, they would have some guys who they really think could stop Derrick Henry. But I honestly, what I think that you need to do is you just got to plug the hole and force Tannehill to throw. And I would rather, if let's say I'm the Bills, I'd rather have Tannehill throw a couple of long touchdowns to beat us than have Derrick Henry run over us the
Right. I'd
entire
rather
game.
bank on Tannehill than Derrick Henry if I'm a defensive
Yeah,
coordinator.
I think he's just not as consistent. So
Right.
I'd
So
rather force him to make plays.
so do you think it'll be easier to strategize against the Titans now since they're virtually the same as last year?
I think slightly, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's about all I got.
Okay, so that was our recent news section. A bit light, based off of all the virus news that's been going around. But now we're gonna move on to our main portion of today's cast, and that will be about the NBA. So over the past day, me and Speedy decided to write down our top 10 point guards in the NBA throughout this season.
Counting
Uh,
LeBron.
counting LeBron and not counting
Not
James
hard.
Harden and counting Luka Doncic. So we also did not include Steph Curry or Kyrie Irving. They didn't play enough games, I felt. So let's just get into our list. What's your number 10?
All right. Before we start, everyone should know I'm not much of a basketball person as much as Splash. So my
Let's
list
see what you
sucks.
got.
Number 10, I have Kyle Lowry.
All right. Do you want to tell me why you put Kyle Lowry there?
I mean, I just don't like him.
All right.
That's about it. I don't like him.
All right.
He just
At
doesn't
number 10,
seem
I
like.
put John Morant. I think John Morant is a very good player. I just don't and he was able to carry things he's really good at. He's a good passer. He was able to come into that locker room and take after Conley and Gasol left last year and basically make it his own. And he's really brought that team. Before the season, I predicted that team to be the 15 seed in the West, but they've really blown my expectations out of the waters. So, yeah. What do you got for number 9?
I put Russell Westbrook. I mean, I think
I disagree, but I want to hear what
he's done well with the Rockets, but it's for him, I feel like it's been a subpar year, like from what we've come to expect from him. And that might be because he's not the number one option anymore. So he's just kind of decreased in his amount of impact, I think. So that's kind of why I have him at
I
9.
see where you're coming from. He didn't play as well, very well in the first like 2 months of the season. He has picked it up in the past 3 months, but I can see why you would say that. I just have him much higher.
Yeah.
So my number 9 is Kemba Walker. Um, I have him there because he was hooping in the beginning of the season and he was doing Kemba Walker things. But since Jason Tatum has kind of blossomed into that number 1 spot, I like to think that uh, and Kemba Walker was injured for a while this season. I just think that I mean he's been hooping, but not as much, not to the level that we got in the Charlotte. And I think there's players who have been better than him this season. So you're number 8.
I put De'Aaron Fox.
Okay, I like that pick.
He's
De'Aaron Fox
kind of
number 11, but I want to hear what you say.
he's led the Kings well, and he's been one of their best go-to guys bringing the ball up the floor.
And being the Kings, I were the hottest team coming into all this like what's it, what did the NBA call it again? A suspension.
Hiatus.
Yeah,
Suspension.
I was gonna say hiatus, but that was definitely not the name they used. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they were the hottest team statistically wise coming up. They pushed their way back from the 14th seed in December all the way back to the
Right.
9th seed now. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they made a big
like
comeback.
I like that pick. My A seed, my 8th is Kyle Lowry. Things I said earlier. Well, you were saying you don't like him, but I don't I don't love Kyle Lowry's play style, but I have to respect it. He does what he does. He's an annoyance on defense. He's talented. He's a good shooter. And I just think there were those games that Pascal Siakam was hurt earlier in the year. He was able to put the team on his back, and they haven't lost a lot recently. So, what's your number 7?
Up at 7, I have John Morant because of how he's been able to turn this Grizzlies team around and
I
just
like
lead
that.
them and come in. He came in and he's just been like an inspiration almost because he wasn't taken at 1. Everyone thought Zion was going to be for sure Rookie of the Year, but he's definitely made his case to be Rookie of the Year.
Yep. I think he and one other player I have on this list have really been inspirational to other teams. My 7, this might be a bit surprising. I'll explain it. It's Trae Young. I'm a guy who loves defense, and that is
Not
Trae Young.
Trae Young.
Yeah, it's not Trae Young. I think Trae Young is a good player, and he tries on defense. He's short. He's just not a great defender. And I think some of these other players have earned their spot above Trae Young, even though, and they're also been winning. Everybody above him and well below everyone on this list, he's the lowest. He's the least amount of wins out of everyone on this list. So that's why I put him at number 7. Did
Yeah,
you do your number 7?
did I do? Yeah, I did. I did John Morant.
All right. What's your number 6?
So for 6, I put Kemba Walker just because of how he's been able to lead the Celtics team. He's done his part and he's known his role, and I think he's helped Jason Tatum especially uh, learn the ropes of the NBA. But
So I'm a
along
little
with that,
confused, real quick. So we definitely have someone. I definitely have someone on my list high that you don't have on your list because you have De'Aaron Fox.
yeah,
So I'm just curious to see who I think it might. I have an idea who I think it might be, but we'll see. So keep talking. Who were you saying? Kemba?
Kemba. So he's just led the Celtics and he's done his part. When it comes down to it, he's been able to score and assist, especially. He's gotten a lot of assists and he's played some peppy defense. But he's just been able to lead that team and be the veteran that he is.
Yeah, I'd like to think he's kind of like the glue for that Celtics team,
Yeah.
and that's why they've been so good. Um, that was your six.
Yeah.
This is my six. I think this might be the guy you didn't put. Chris Paul. Uh,
No,
you did put Chris Paul?
I did. I did put Chris Paul.
All right. Chris Paul. I love Chris Paul, one of my favorite point guards of all time. Um, he's just been an inspiration for that young team. Uh, that it's just a mixed match of players. Him and Gallo are the only really, I guess you would say, veterans on that team, and he's just been hooping. He's been putting that team on his back. And him, he's been really good passing, as always, and I think he deserved the All-Star spot that he got this year. So, what's your number five?
Chris Paul.
All right, we on
For
the
the
same
reasons
page
you
there.
just described, yes. Yep. So
So,
yeah, he's just been a perfect inspiration. Nobody thought the Thunder would do anything. Everyone counted them out, but he's just been
Mhm.
able to turn them around and keep them. They're hunting for a playoff spot, or staying in the playoff race.
Yeah, actually, if the season were never to pick up again, if it went straight to the playoffs, this is interesting. As Sixers fans, we should know this. The OKC has a pick. So if the OKC is in the top eight teams in the league, the Sixers get a first round pick. And right now they are the eighth best team in the league.
All right,
So
so we're rooting
Sixers
for him.
get a first round pick instead of a second round pick if the league ended right now, if the regular season ended right now. So that's just an interesting little fact that I thought was pretty cool. My number five uh,
Mhm.
hurts a little bit, but Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons was probably playing better than a couple players, or at least a player ahead of him at some point this season. But then he got hurt for I want to say 7 games, something around that. And I think during those 7 games, the other players take leaps past him, and I'm not going to be one to complain about his shooting because that's just not what he does. But he does everything else. He's a great passer. He's a great defender. He's a knows the time to shoot. Well, not shoot, but take the ball to the hoop and the time to uh, defer to Embiid or Harris. So that's why I put Simmons there.
Yeah. Well, my number 4 is Ben Simmons. Look at
All
that.
right.
So yeah, I put him there because his defense has been extraordinary. When he's played, he is. One of the games there was like 14 seconds left, and he had 3 steals in the last 14 seconds, I believe. And he's just turned a corner on that side of the ball. And everyone just talks about, oh, Ben can't shoot. Oh, I can't shoot. But he shows you that basketball isn't just about shooting. You can still flourish in this league without having a 3-pointer.
Okay. Yeah. I see where you're coming from. I'm still confused who we don't have on the same page on this list. Uh,
I mean,
you
my
don't have.
top 3 makes sense to me.
All right, we'll see. My number four was Russell Westbrook. I know you had him a lot lower than me, but as someone who's been watching a lot of Rockets games recently, because of they're just so they're my favorite team's the Sixers. They're the opposite of the Sixers. That's just an interesting prospect to me. Sixers so big, so they're switchable in their own right. They can swallow passes on defense, but the Rockets are the opposite, but they're still really switchable on defense. All their guys are wings. And they got big man PJ Tucker. Yeah, I see
Big,
you. I
big
see
man.
you. 6'6" center. But I really think Russell Westbrook has kind of fit in this role somehow better than Chris Paul was last year. And I think the first couple months of the year he wasn't playing too great, but he really stepped it up in the past 3 to 4 months, and I really respect that, especially because James Harden was having bad January shooting wise, and he kind of was able to keep him afloat. What's your number three?
I have Luca.
Hey,
Luca Doncic. Did we get
Luka.
one right?
Yes, sir. I mean,
Ah,
there's no right and wrong, but that we got the same.
yeah. He's done wonders for this Magic team. I mean, when it comes
Maver-
down to crunch time, huh?
Mavericks.
That's what I said.
I thought you said Magic. My bad.
Oh no, Mavericks. I'm not that dumb. But he's
Uh,
taken his game to another level. He can see the whole floor. He can drive. He can shoot. He's got a step back now. It looks like Harden's, and he's just been having a great year.
Yeah, I was not predicting that Mavericks team to be great. I thought Porzingis would struggle in the beginning, which he did, but Luka really picked up the slack for him. And before the league got suspended, I really thought they were playing like one of the best offenses in the league again.
Mhm.
And he's made all these players who you really wouldn't think about: Dwight Powell, Tim Hardaway Jr.
Seth
He's made
Curry.
what Seth
Seth
Curry, and
Curry. Yeah, he has like the best 3-point percentage right now.
he's
And it's
made
all
these
because of
players
Luca's.
passing ability and
Mhm.
spacing and just like ball creation. So you're number 2.
I have Dame time.
Same. I
All
don't
right.
understand. Did you not have Trey Young?
No, his defense is so atrocious.
Well, that was who you didn't have. Okay. All right.
He would have been my like
Just
11. His defense is just makes me
just
want to throw up.
right. Yeah. You had Derek Fox. Okay. Let's go on. Dame Lillard. I had Dame too. You
Yeah,
know what time?
he's got his playmaking ability is off the charts. He he can score like anything, but he's not one of those guys where he's gonna just have 50 points and 0 assists. He knows how to score and spread the ball around.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
I think if that Blazers team was healthy, they'd be in the playoffs right now. But they have injuries to Nurkic and Zach Collins
right.
and Rodney Hood and uh, I that well Dame was injured for a little while and CJ was injured for a little while. So it's just they've had to do by, and I think Dame has really carried that team. The Blazers are 2-6 when Damian Lillard does not play in the game, and I really think that shows how
Mm,
important he is to them. So I
right.
think we have the same number 1. Uh,
Yeah.
it's
Let's go
Reggie
ahead.
Jackson.
Raul Neto.
Oh, my bad. Now LeBron James,
Yeah.
obviously.
Hmm.
LeBron, he's he's LeBron. He's the king. You
He's a
gotta
fossil, but he's hooping.
he's been hooping. He's leading the league in assists. At 35 years old, and he normally plays small forward, which is impressive, very
Right.
impressive.
To say the least.
Uh,
Yeah.
and he's carried this team of people like who I really didn't think were gonna be that good. Like I no, I have nothing against them, but like I really didn't think Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, Kyle Kuzma, Avery.
JaVale McGee is the next Shaquille O'Neal. You just give him some time.
All right, sure. Uh, and Alex Caruso were gonna be all that good, but
Should have been an all-star.
they, yeah, okay. But I really think he's made these players just like I was saying about Luca. Made these players a lot better than I think they
Yeah.
really are on
Like
their own.
LeBron showed that, especially on the Cavaliers championship team. It was LeBron and then just a couple other average guys, but he has the ability to make other players better. And that's one of the
Mhm.
reasons why he's probably the greatest of all time.
He can put his head down. I don't agree with that statement, but I respect it.
I said one of the
Oh, okay,
greatest
you
of
said
all
one.
time.
All right. But he knows, and I think he's so versatile that he can shown in in the 2018 finals. He was dropping he was dropping buckets. Like he was putting up I won, I could be wrong, but I think it was 30, 40 points per game, and now when he doesn't have to do that, he's putting up 25 points per game,
Right,
but
he's still
like
contributing
12
points wise.
assists.
Right, but his
Like
assists are amazing.
off the charts, yeah. And he's been better on defense this year than he was last year.
Mhm.
Not like all NBA or anything like that, but it's LeBron.
But an unnoticeable improvement.
Mm, I think that if Curry was here and Kyrie, I would just out of the sake, where do you think they would fit if they had played a full season, or do you think they would fit into this list?
Curry probably would have been in my top two or top three. And then Kyrie, I probably would have been like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Probably
I probably would have put Curry at 1. Not that I think he's a better player than LeBron, but I think he's a better point
point
guard
guard. Right.
than LeBron.
Mhm.
But and then Kyrie probably, I don't know, either before or after Luca or something like
Right.
that. Something like that. I don't know.
Hmm.
Uh just depending how good the season he had was. Um is there who would have been who'd you say would have been your 11? Trey?
Trey Young. Trey Young.
And
Yeah.
then I would have been De'Aaron. I was really considering De'Aaron, along with a couple of other guys I was considering were I was really considering Jamal Murray. Uh not that he's
Right.
been amazing, but
Yeah.
he's been fine. He's been good. He's been decent, especially because Gary Harris has taken a step back. Uh he's he's been good. Now, here's a question I want to pose to you.
Hmm.
Uh other than Ben Simmons, can't say Ben Simmons. Who is your favorite player who is on your list?
Like favorite player to watch
I would
or
say
like
the
personality?
funnest player to watch.
I mean, John Morant is just an exciting player. Some of his like he makes some handles that you don't see anyone else in the NBA doing. Like
Yeah,
he almost plays with like a street ball mentality.
something that I did mention when you were talking, but he's hunting for a body. He
Oh
tried to dunk
yeah, he
over
has the most.
Love.
He has
He
the
tried to
best
dunk over
almost dunks. Kevin Love.
there was someone else like the next game.
Yeah,
Uh
Kevin Love, Aaron Baines.
Aaron Baines. Aaron Baines. He tried to catch a body. I think what
He
did
did
he
catch
go
a body with
after?
Aaron Baines.
He
He
did catch
killed
a
it.
body with Aaron Baines?
Oh, Aaron Baines.
He's
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then JaVale, did he get JaVale McGee?
I don't know.
I don't know. Everybody been dunking on JaVale McGee. He's like the easiest person to dunk on. You look at highlights reels of best dunks every season. There are at least 3 that are over JaVale McGee.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a fact.
kidding you. Uh, the other thing I question I wanted to pose was that do you think that the who's your prediction for the finals this year?
I mean, my top four teams would probably be the Raptors, the Bucks, and the Clippers and the Lakers. So it would be two of those four, obviously. But I think I could see the Raptors and the Lakers. I feel like the Raptors, even without Kawhi, they would still be able to shut down Giannis. I mean, and they obviously they've exceeded all expectations. They have something to prove. They're
Yeah,
showing we're not just revolving around Kawhi. We're our own special team. And
I
then on the
remember the end of last season after Kawhi left, everyone was like, well, they might just sell off their not sell off, trade off their assets for picks and start to rebuild. But they've been the second hottest team in basketball
mhm,
behind the Kings recently, and they've just been playing well. They're the 4th best record team in basketball right now, or
right,
third actually. They have
and
the
they went
third
on
best.
that really long streak, unbeaten
Yeah,
streak.
I think 15 straight wins or
I
something
think it
like
was
that.
16. I think
60,
16.
yeah, it was really impressive. I didn't
Yeah,
expect that. And even their bench guys have just been playing out of their minds.
right. Like Van Vliet has picked it up,
Van
and
Vliet, and they've been turned like I never who the heck was Chris Boucher
oh yeah,
before the
he
season?
stuffed Giannis and then dunked
He,
on him.
he's been yeah, and he's been playing well. And same with like Rondé Hollis Jeffords, like just guys who you would never think to step up have been playing
Yeah,
well. I would that's my final 4 teams too. I would pick the other 2, but I can see the Raptors or the Lakers getting to the finals easily. I just think the Clippers have too much talent, and LeBron faced with tons of talent is not always the best when
well,
he's by the
I
Warriors.
think that too much talent can be a problem in some cases. I mean, with the Warriors, it obviously worked out very well, but the Clippers haven't been as good as some people may have thought.
They haven't been great. I think that some of that's based off of the non-existent constant playing. Like they've injuries, like not injuries, load management. Kawhi Leonard, Paul
Yeah,
George, even Pat Bev got injured a bit for a while, and someone else was injured for a while. But I think Marcus Morris, great pickup, and I just think but to your point, a team that wasn't great was last year's Celtics, and they had so much talent. They just
right. They couldn't
Everyone
handle
wants
it.
to
They
shoot
couldn't
the ball.
spread it around too much.
Yeah, you got Terry Rozier trying to chuck up 10 shots a night. That's not going to work when you
Right.
already got Kyrie and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Al Horford. Like, it's just not going to work. So
Right.
I see your point. I just think they'll figure it out.
I think that
Yeah.
that LeBron, when he gets in his playoff mentality, that he'll be able to boost the guys around him and bring a championship to LA.
I could see that. I could see that. And then so that was it for that question. And my last, I guess, question is, what's your opinion about what's going to happen for the end of the season? What's your guess?
I mean, it's obviously serious. The virus is very serious, and you can't have people close together. So I think that when they do decide to resume the season, they should cut some regular season games off and maybe allow like a week of practice to get them back into things, and
When
then
when
play.
when are they cutting? What time?
Are they coming back?
Yeah, when did you say they would come back? Is your
Uh,
prediction? Just,
I don't know dates.
yeah,
April.
okay. I just like what month would you pick?
April.
All
April,
right,
probably.
fair.
Maybe. Yeah, but I think they should cut off regular season games and then have a week of practice. And then there's what, 17 games left, I
Mm,
think. So I think maybe they should cut off 5 to 7 games and then just play out those last couple games.
before going to the playoffs.
Yeah, after those regular season games
Um,
and go to the playoffs.
all right, I find similar. I just think the virus is gonna push it back a bit further, maybe like middle of May. But I think, and then they'll just have to cut off a couple regular season games. But I agree with you. Cut off some regular season games. And then I had an idea that I was sharing earlier. That what if they played the remainder of their games in G League stadiums?
Yeah, have like less people there, smaller
Mm-hmm.
arenas.
Less
I
chance
think
of spread.
that's a good idea.
Maybe you have like only sell a certain amount of tickets, something like that. Just an idea. Do you have
Right.
anything else to say before we end the pod?
I think so. Wrap it up, Splash.
All right. Before we do end, I do want to say one. Actually, I want to ask one more question.
All
That
right.
was kind of on my mind. Why did you not include Trae Young again on your list?
His defense has just been atrocious. It's
Yeah,
so bad. He got
that's fair.
dropped by, I believe it was Lonnie Walker. Made
The
him
goat.
fall.
The goat. Are you disrespecting the goat, Lonnie Walker, the fourth
His hairstyle that's
goat?
goat worthy, but nah. But I mean, he can shoot the ball, but I think great players, if you like move them onto another team, they would still be able to prosper. But I feel like Trae Young, if he's not on the Hawks, the young Hawks, he's not really gonna be as good. He's not
All
gonna
right.
have he's not gonna shoot every time he walks down the floor, and that's just gonna impact his whole game.
All right, yeah. So just to wrap up the pod real quick, I have a quote, and this is from Michael Jordan. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Just a quick inspirational quote. And I'm Splash. This
Speed.
and that was our Sports Rule the World podcast. I'll see you next week or whenever we decide to do this again. Bye.
Yeah,